90% of companies that work with data have no idea how many of their decisions are based on incomplete information. It sounds harsh, but it's true. Some of the data simply never arrives, blocked by platforms lost in routing, or filtered out by anti-bot systems. While marketing and analytics teams are busy drawing beautiful dashboards, DevOps engineers see a different picture. Tens of thousands of requests that never returned a valid response. The result? Decisions made not on data, but on the shadows of data. You're watching the Proxy-Seller channel. I'm Mark, and today we'll break down how web data collection automation helps you regain control, reduce losses, see the full market picture, and why proxy infrastructure has become a core element of that system. Every company that collects web data at scale faces the same challenge: a lack of transparency in their pipelines. You can invest thousands of dollars in proxies, crawling systems, and analytics, but if you don't actually see what's happening at the endpoint level, you're operating blind. In practice, that means some requests get blocked or return error-filled HTML that no one validates. Some responses show a 200 OK status, but contain empty data. And some geo requests route through the wrong ASN, so your US data is actually coming from European IPs. Without endpoint-level observability, these failures stay invisible. DevOps only see retries, the data lead sees metric drops, and the business sees inflated CPVR, cost per valid response. Across dozens of analyzed pipelines, we keep seeing the same pattern. On average, 20 to 35% of requests either fail or require a retry. That's not just data loss, that's wasted budget, time, and accuracy. Without centralized policy control and request-level logging, companies can't explain where data disappears. Is it rate limits, CAPTCHAs, geo-misrouting, or weak IP rotation? That's why most analytics systems today don't show the real market. They show its shadow. The problem isn't a lack of data. The problem is not knowing which data is actually valid. The real weakness in most pipelines isn't speed, it's controllability. That's why the key to stable data collection is an automated infrastructure that doesn't just transmit traffic, but analyzes how that traffic behaves. Policy-driven routing is the foundation. At Proxy-Seller, we define routing policies that account for GEO, ASN, user agent, and even content type. This allows the system to make dynamic decisions: where to send each request, which pool to activate, and how to avoid repeat blocks. This turns IP rotation from random switching into a managed process. Each session has its own history and parameters. Next comes endpoint-level observability. We don't look at traffic as one mass. We see every request, its status, source, latency, and context. Logs are structured by error types, forming an error taxonomy that helps distinguish temporary issues from systemic ones. This isn't just technical statistics, it's a feedback loop that teaches the system to improve routing automatically. For example, if a certain GEO-ASN pair consistently triggers CAPTCHAs, the policy automatically removes it from the pool for that endpoint. Then comes automated monitoring and dynamic retries. Instead of manual if-else rules, we use behavioral patterns. The system knows which errors are worth retrying, how long to wait, and how to balance between speed and accuracy. The result isn't just optimization, it's a closed loop of observation, learning, and correction, where every endpoint behaves like a living system, adaptive, predictable, and under control. Looking across dozens of implementations from e-commerce to ad tech and SEO platforms, clear patterns emerge. First, in price monitoring systems, data loss isn't caused by volume, but by lack of transparency. Without controlled routing, some requests never reach their target pages, and businesses make decisions on incomplete data. Where policy control and endpoint-level monitoring are implemented, those dead zones practically disappear. Second, in advertising systems, the main risk isn't blocking, it's geographic distortion. If verification ignores ASN and real user networks, results become statistically irrelevant. Proper geo-specific routing eliminates these distortions and restores trust in your data. Third, in SEO and crawling systems, stability depends not on speed but on explainability. When analysts can see the exact reason behind every anomaly, a CAPTCHA, redirect, or template change, teams respond systematically, not instinctively. Pipeline transparency shortens recovery time and keeps rankings accurate. And this pattern repeats everywhere. The more observability, the fewer losses, errors, and manual fixes. Team productivity grows not by adding more proxies, but by understanding exactly what happens in every request. Every automated data collection system has a limit, imposed by the platforms themselves. Anti-bot defenses, rate limits, geo-restrictions all create filters that ordinary requests can't pass through. To keep such systems stable, a proxy layer is added between your app and the outside world, an infrastructure layer that manages traffic, scale, and control. First, policy-based control. Modern systems route requests based on policies that account for GEO, ASN, user agent, and content type. This helps distribute load intelligently, reducing blocks and errors. Second, auditability and compliance. Every access to web data must be reproducible and ethical. The proxy layer allows you to track request origins, log access, and comply with usage policies and internal security standards. That ensures not just technical stability, but legal transparency. Third, Geo-Observability. Proxies let you see what real users see in different countries. For analytics, price monitoring, or SEO, that's critical. Your data must reflect the real local user experience, not a technical snapshot from one data center. As a result, the proxy layer becomes not just a helper tool, but a core architectural element. It creates an environment where data collection is controlled, reproducible, and ethical. Most companies still make decisions on incomplete data. Without a full market picture, no analysis can be truly accurate. With proxy infrastructure, you gain stability, trustworthy, reproducible data collection across regions in real time with full process control. Proxy-Seller is that reliable layer of your data infrastructure, observable, ethical, and scalable for your needs. Want to see how complete your analytics really are? Run a short test on your own endpoints and see the difference for yourself. You've been watching the Proxy-Seller channel. Subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dives into data, infrastructure, and analytics.